Please welcome Angela Williams.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Before I get started, I'd like to say thank you to Motel and everyone who works diligently hard to keep this beautiful tradition alive. I really appreciate it. Thank you for the opportunity to share stories too. I also want to recognize my fellow storytellers. I feel like you guys are the giants in the storytelling community, and I've been really blessed to listen and follow and be guided by many of you that are here today. Um, Last but not least, I always feel it's so important for us to honor those who help us and not forget their impact ever. And that's Dr. Gladys Cogswell, who I call Mama G now. She's a second mother to me. And I'm also thankful that the Missouri Folk Arts Program allowed me to be her apprentice 2 years in a row. And I'd say that I was a special case. She's still helping me. And I'm so grateful to have that wisdom and feedback. Um, and she says, I didn't have that when I was covering up. And I said, look what you did. Look what you did. So please send positive vibes to us as we continue to share each stories and create new ones and be grateful for this time that we have. Um, so, Tales of Magic and Wonder. When Miss Sue Hinkle called me and told me, I was like, oh my goodness, what am I going to do? But when I started thinking about magic and wonder, I think of hope. I dare to believe in the magic and wonders of how stories or a storyteller can create long lasting human connections, promote healing and understanding in ways that are very peculiar, just like magic. Hmm. I'm going to share a story with you about a man everybody called Uncle Rack. That's right, Uncle Rack, Rack. Uncle Rack. And it didn't matter how much education, how much money he made, everybody in the community said, hey, how you doing today? And it was just always a good time. You know how he got his name? Because if anybody knew Uncle Rack, they knew Uncle Rack loved to eat some raccoon. Oh my goodness, he didn't care if it was boiled, baked, fried, dried, or barbecue. Ooh, he just loved some raccoon. Everybody knew that about him. And he had special memories of going hunting at midnight with his father when he was a little boy. He would hold his little hand and walk side by side. And a couple more years later, he got a little older. Next day, he was walking side by side. Some more years later, next day, he was helping and pushing and helping his father until they were no longer to do that tradition. And when they caught a raccoon out there hunting, oh, mama. Oh, his mama had so many different recipes of how to cook raccoon. He made sure when she started getting a little older, he started writing all them recipes down. And so, as he thinks about those times, he continues by himself. And he has his childhood best friend, and they together go and hunting now that the men are both getting older in age. And Mr. Rack, the other day, the other night, he was hunting with his friend, and he caught the biggest, plump, juicy raccoon he had ever seen. And oh, he couldn't wait to go home and pull out his mama's recipe and make it just like she made it for him. Oh, he could just taste it. Early in that morning, he started prepping that raccoon. He made sure he had the right amount of garlic, the right amount of seasonings. He even sliced some sweet potatoes and cut them up just right and placed them all around that raccoon, just like his mama did. hmm And then he opened up that oven and slid that raccoon in that oven. And then while he was waiting, he pulled out his banjo and he started playing a little song. Woke up this morning, and I had my mind on eating some coon. Oh, I woke up early this morning, and all I can think about is eating that juicy, tasty raccoon. Well, I'm gonna cook it just like my mom and daddy taught me, and I know it's gonna taste so good. And he played song after song, and his voice began to travel down the road. Oh, that smell from that raccoon that his recipes that his mama gave him went down that road. He said, it's done. Oh, it looks so beautiful. Oh, Lord, 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 thank you for this juicy raccoon. Woo. And he set that thing on the table. He said, well, I can hear my mama's voice now. Said, look at Rack. You make sure you let that raccoon sit on that table for at least 30 minutes before you eat it. And that way it's going to be good and juicy. And he remembered it. And so he's like, well, I'm a little tired. I've been working all hard. So he sat down in his chair, leaned back, took off his hat, placed it on his face, and began to go to sleep. While he was asleep, if you remember what I was telling you, that his voice traveled down the road and that scent traveled down the road and met these two young men who were teenagers. They always used to go over to Uncle Rack's house and hang out. And, Uncle Rack would tell them stories here and there. And they just, would just check in here and there. But when they went to that door, they looked at that table, they said, oh, that looks good. And they went to knock and they said, wait up, look. Don't wake up Uncle Rack, he's asleep. But that raccoon looks so beautiful, brown and just the right crispiness on the outside that they said, well, he's not going to mind if we just take a little bite. Well, I don't know if you guys know teenage boys, but they don't take little bites. Next thing, they looked at each other and there was nothing but bones in that plate that Uncle Rack kept up there. And he said, oh, they said, what we gonna do? They said, Uncle Rack ain't gonna mind. He always gives us some food. But he said, this was the best and we didn't leave him anything. I don't want him to be upset with us. So they decided to get some of that gravy that was still on that plate, scooped it up, and they rubbed it on his lips. Then they said, that ain't enough. He don't know. So they went back and got some more gravy. And they rubbed it on his hands. And very quietly, they eased out of the house. Well, in about that time, Uncle Rat, oh, he's smelling. Mm. Oh, whew. He got up, went over there and looked at that. What? What happened to my pops? Oh, my raccoon! Oh my goodness! Oh, what? 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 Did I eat it in my? Did I eat it in my sleep? But I'm so hungry, couldn't be. But Mama, it smelled like raccoon. Let me see. Oh, it tastes like my raccoon. Oh, hmm, where is it? Just at that time, Uncle Rack's best friend came in the door. And you think you ate that while you was asleep. Something is wrong with you now. I know, boy. I know the Lord's coming soon. Because that don't even sound right. Mm-mm. Well, he said, you want to know what happened? 2-year-old raccoon. I just saw two teenage boys leave up out of there. They looked pretty happy. And if I was you, I will call the law on them two knuckleheads, and you need to teach them a lesson before they end up getting many lessons that they don't have to have. Uncle Rat looked, there ain't nothing wrong with them boys. I let them come in and out when they please. They good boys. Oh, yeah, you need to call the police. Well, you need to have a little more faith in people. He said, you know what? I knew one of them young boys when he was little. You remember back then in the days I used to have that shop down there on Market Street? Uh-huh. Well, that's when I met a young man who we know now. Uncle Rat began to tell the story of how one day he was in his shop just cleaning. He heard the doorbell open, but he didn't see nobody, so he went back cleaning. And all of a sudden, he heard a voice say, "Excuse me, sir, do you got a job?" Uncle Rat said, "How old are you? Can you work?" "Yes, I can work." "You can barely see over the counter." He said, "I can work." But there was something in this young man's voice that Uncle Rat heard. He said, how old are you? You kind of look, I'm young and little for my age, but I can do it. Hmm. Where uh now listen here. Now where is your daddy? I I I I I don't know. They say we never heard back because he went to New York and I think he got lost. He said, "Well, why do you need a job?" He said, "Well, I, I I woke up this morning and I walked into my mama crying. It's only all she has is me, and she was crying because she had lost her last 5 cents, and she told me that she didn't know how she was going to get any more money, and that's why I'm here, because I want to help her." He said, okay. He said, "Well, I can give you a quarter for some food." He said, "Thank you, sir, but my mama told me to never beg. That's why I'm asking you for a job." He said, "Okay, this is what we're going to do. I'm going to give you I'm going to give you $3 every week, and I'm going to give you $1 today up front that I'll take back at the end when you get paid. You understand?" He said, "Yes, sir." Uncle Rat looked at his friend. He said, "Now, you know that young boy came back the next morning and he never, ever missed a shift. In fact, when he got that job, he ran home to his mother on those steps that creaked and cracked. And he busted through the door. He said, "Mama, I got a job, Mama. Mama, I got a job." And she looked at him. You could tell she had been crying and worry was etched in between her eyebrows. He said, Mom, I got a job." He said, "He gonna give me $3 a week, and I got $1 today so we can go eat." He said, "Mama, I'm gonna take care of you, and I'm gonna be the man of the house." His mother looked dumbfounded. Tears began to flow down her eyes. I can't even begin to express to you what she was feeling as she grabbed her son and hugged him, kissed his cheeks. And it wasn't tears of sorrow, it was tears of love and happiness. Uncle Rat, you see my friend? I always knew there was something special about that young boy who found a solution to a problem instead of being the problem. You see, if we dare to wonder about hope, magic is always near. And that's the end of my story. Thank you.